Hey guys, I'm Mark.
I'm Alon.
And welcome to another episode of The Next Man Up. Well, greetings once again, listeners. We are thrilled that you are with us. We are excited that you are part of this journey with us. And we want to continue to invite you into this conversation. So if you have thoughts, if you have questions, suggestions, feel free to hit us up at our email, feedback@thenextmanup.com, or you can connect with us on social, both on Facebook or on Twitter. We're at The Next Man Up 1. We'd love to hear from you. This conversation started between Alon and I, but it was never intended to be fulfilled there. It was always about broadening, going bigger, and inviting more voices into this space. And so if you're new to us, maybe you didn't know that those are the ways that you could connect with us, feel free to just shout out and let us know you're out there and that you're tracking with us and what you're thinking. We would love to hear from you. So with that out of the way, let's turn our attention to today's episode. We've got a fun topic today. Yeah, man. Just wrestling with what are the role models that our boys are looking to, and who are our role models? How does that translate today culturally and age-wise? But before we get to that, it's always good to welcome Alon. And,
hey, man.
It's good to have eyeballs on you again.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be in the studio and doing this in person.
In the moment.
It's cool.
It's always a cool thing to hang out with you, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, man. I agree.
Yeah.
A little bro hug here.
That's awesome, bruh.
Yes. You have to go back to a previous episode to catch that reference. Yeah. But
dude, what's up with you, man? What's new?
So this is just what popped into my mind. You'll get a kick out of this. I have 6 phones on my cell phone plan. 6.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say you have 6 phones on you.
No, just one.
What?
One is enough for me, but we have 6.
I understand
we
that.
kind of one that stays around the house as the quote unquote kid phone, although we only have one kid that doesn't have her own phone. Okay. So each of our family members basically has one, and then my mother-in-law's on our plan. And up until just recently, we've all shared data. Now, it's not been a problem for me for the most part, and for my wife and for my mother-in-law, but boy, my boys are always like, oh, Dad. And then, when we hit our cap for the month and the billing cycle isn't up, the speed gets throttled.
My goodness.
And so then I get the, you're keeping me from doing my job because I need my phone at work, or like this, that, and the other thing. So anyway, all that to say, it's relevant here, and it ties in.
Sure.
We just recently went to unlimited.
Oh.
Now, I've been resisting biting that because, once you go, you don't go back, right?
No.
It's kind of like going from dial-up to broadband.
Yeah.
For all of those out there that are over 40 years old, you know what we're talking about. From dial-up to broadband, you don't go back. And because of the cost, like just the way we were running the numbers, it did not make sense. Well, somehow it all worked out that we changed our plan.
Okay.
Did not increase our cost. In fact, we actually went down a couple bucks. We did not change phones. We did not change providers. Just through working with available options, we are now unlimited. And so I get to stream Pandora in my car now as I'm driving around. I don't have to listen to the local stations or...
Welcome to the future, my friend.
So I was in and out of a local town today for a meeting, and I had Pandora going on the way there. And so I'm listening lately to a lot of Bethel worship music.
Okay.
It just helps to set my frame of mind. And it's not exclusive Bethel. It picks up Hillsong and Elevation.
Sure. Yeah.
and different artists. And
Elevation.
It's just, it's good stuff for me.
Man.
But it was so fun to be able to get in the car this morning and turn on Pandora and not think about data usage and be like, I'm streaming my Pandora. Look at me. I've arrived.
That's awesome.
So You never know what's going to come out of my mouth or yours, right? When we ask an open-ended question like that.
No,
I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't see that one coming.
I did not. I was like, when you started off with phones, I'm like, okay, I guess maybe you got some roundabout way of getting to answer the question.
Yes.
What kind of what is up with you?
I could take my Bethel with me. We don't buy music anymore, right? Like, generally speaking, we just stream it, and sometimes it's free, sometimes it's subscription. But
that's always bothered me. This is the thing that's in the back of my head since switching from buying your own like CD or if you're old enough, cassette tape, right. To like streaming music and streaming music services. When I bought a CD, it was mine.
That's right.
Streaming music services, bro, once you're done like paying and you say, I don't require your services anymore, the music goes with them.
That's right.
And that's always been a bother to me. It's not mine anymore. It's not necessarily my music anymore. It's yours, and I'm borrowing it. Almost like I'm financing a car that I will never own. Yeah,
you're leasing music.
Yeah.
But you get access to anything and everything in the library.
Which is a switch, right?
It is.
That is a good like switch off. And that's cool, but there's like a piece of me that's like, but it's not mine.
Well, and you may also see it from the artist's standpoint too.
True.
Right? I mean that was a complete disruptor for the actual artist and how they make money. But
Pandora.
Yeah, Pandora.
I use Spotify.
Spotify's probably better, but I have more years of history on Pandora. Dude, and
there's like switch offs for each. Like like the big thing. What do I use? Apple. I think another one is Tidal or something like that. It's another just music service. Pandora. It's like, which one do I use? Which one? They all have different things that make them like the one thing I don't like about Spotify that I think Apple Music is bigger on is that you can find more relevant songs on Apple Music than you could on Spotify. And then when you have artists like Jay-Z all of a sudden going, you know what? I'm taking all my music off of Spotify.
I'm doing my own, right?
Yeah, like, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Well, if you're a fan of Jay-Z, like, you're going to want to go with him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so there's pluses and minuses to either one, man. So speaking of music, dude.
Yeah, so what's...
I was listening to this song. I was driving in a car. Like, you ever feel like you have something on your face? And
all the time,
right?
Yeah.
It's so weird. Anyway.
Squirrel.
For those of you that are not here in the studio with us, I am like continually wipe my face because I feel like there is something on my face, but there's nothing there. So this looks silly right now, slapping myself over and over as I'm trying to tell this story. So I'm in the car and I'm driving, and I like to listen to music. I listen to a lot of like hip hop music. And so I was listening to this one artist by the name of Govna. Yeah, he has the British accent and everything.
Really?
Yeah, he's Guvna. He's a really cool guy.
Hello, Governor.
Yeah, it's like, but now I don't know if he's from like Britain or I mean from England or not, but like I just know he's got this definite English accent.
Okay.
And such. Young black man. He's a really cool dude. Based off of what I've heard from his music, he seems to be a pretty cool dude. He had this song. It's called New Legends. And this is the premise of it. It's that those of us who are older, we have our legends. And he lists off a bunch of legends from Martin Luther King to Nelson Mandela. He's named some like celebrity like legends like MJ. Although I don't know if he meant Michael Jordan or Michael Jackson. I'm thinking he meant Michael Jordan.
Either one though.
Like big celebrity legends, right? You know those names, right? But he names off all these legends, and he says, those were our legends. What about some new legends? You know, who are the new legends out there? And he said, basically, I'm choosing to be one. I'm going to take that.
Interesting.
And then he says, basically lays out that anyone out there listening, you could choose to be a legend. If we would just basically be who we're called to be. His music, I have to preface this also by saying he is a Christian artist. He professes to follow Jesus. So there was a sense of like follow Christ and be a legend with him kind of deal going on. But just if we would just be who Christ has called us to be, that we would end up just like shining bright out there. Like for other people to go, I can follow that person. I can follow that person. I can follow it. And like he's saying, you can follow me. You know what I mean? And it got me thinking, man. You know, in a sense of like, you know, when he says new legends, or you know, he's talking about legends, I'm thinking he's talking about role models.
Yeah, that's what I hear too.
You know, like people that you can pattern your life after. Now I know that statement could be a problem for some because they're like, oh, I just want to be me. I'm unique. I'm original, and I have a lot of thoughts on that. But we all do, in some way or sense of shape or form, do take things that we see out there that we like about others, and we do implement them into our lives. You know, I wanted to be a better break dancer, and one of the parts of breaking that I wanted to be better at was head spinning. I connected with a guy from Chicago by the name of King Headspin, and he was dominant at head spinning, and he taught me how to do better head spins. To say that I didn't pattern that part of my life of breaking after somebody would be a lie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I had to find a role model, someone that I can look up to that could teach me, or that I can look up to and pattern my life after that person. Right. And so when he says new legends, I'm thinking he's talking about role models, and I'm thinking like, wow, you know, a lot of people who are my role models, Mark, man, they're up there in age, man.
Yeah.
Or they're not on this earth anymore.
Gone.
They're gone. You know, he mentioned Martin Luther King, and I'm like, yeah, man, sadly, Martin Luther King is not with us anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's been years since his assassination, you know. And I'm thinking like other folks, I'm like, yeah, he mentioned Nelson Mandela. Nelson's not with us anymore, you know. I think of like just greats out there, not only like of like people who have like lent something to society as far as like whether it's political or social justice or whatever, but even like, dude, there's got to be someone newer than Tiger Woods, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's got to be someone newer than Allen Iverson. Like when I was growing up, man, Allen Iverson was a dude. Like if you wanted to be anyone on a basketball court, people name people like MJ and people like Kobe. But man, if you really knew basketball, you knew Allen Iverson was special. You know, that's a dude. Yeah, like talking about handling skills. Oh my gosh, when he crossed up Jordan and shot a 3 in Jordan's eye, like man. But Allen Iverson, he's
yeah. Who's
old.
that?
Who's that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe not who's that, but more of like, yeah, that was a legend for you, Dad. But who are my legends? And so it's like, how do I help my son, or how do we as fathers help our sons identify role models for them who are relevant to them, who are close to them in their age? And how do we help them like find like good role models, not just any role models? But
There's
people,
no shortage of people that are,
because everyone's vying for our attention.
that's right.
Like, I mean, I was talking with you earlier, but like, the moment that I realized that there are a lot of people vying for my attention in life was way back with the Hiltons.
Oh,
like I remember watching, I remember watching TV and watching like the Hilton girls, like, and going, why are you famous?
yeah.
Like like there was. I get your daddy owns like all this stuff, but you, like, what have you done?
I didn't even make that connection early on. You know, it's this Paris Hilton and her friend. I can't even remember her friend's name, right? Like, who is that? Just
Who is that?
Right? I didn't even make the connection to Hilton and the Hilton family until, you know, much later on. Like, oh, that was the door entry, but still, who are you?
Who are you? What are you doing?
Right.
Why should I?
Why should I care? Why should I follow you?
Why should I follow you? Why should I, like, name you as one of the role models, greats?
And this was before social media,
this is way,
right?
And then social media hit, and it's like, oh my gosh! I mean, everyone's trying to tell me,
right?
You know, like, role model this. I'm a role model here. I'm a role model here. I'm like, look at me. I got 26-inch pythons. Look at me. I'm a role model here. And I'm like, right? No. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. And I'm thinking, like, man, how hard it must be for our kids, you know, to identify, like, actual really good, healthy role models to pattern their lives after. How do I help them?
Yeah.
How do I press into that?
It's a big question.
I know. When you ask me to do the ones, like, it starts with a small thought, but it ends up being a huge, like, big, hairy, audacious question.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's a good question because I'm just thinking about the people that I used to follow back when I was young. And they tended to be athletes because I was more interested in athletics.
Sure.
And that is kind of the language that I spoke. There was one in particular. It was a hockey player for the Detroit Red Wings. His name was Stevie Yzerman, and I still look up to that guy.
Sure.
Now, I didn't know him, and it's not like I was obsessed with him. But if you were to ask who my favorite hockey player was, it wasn't Gretzky and it wasn't Lemieux. It was this guy because of what I saw, because of how he led the team. But the options for me were a lot more limited than they are today.
Yeah.
Because anybody and everybody can get my attention if I let them, through Facebook, through LinkedIn, through Instagram, through Twitter, on and on and on. Back then it was whatever you could see on TV. And I remember, this is going to be really dating for me, but I remember a time in television before cable.
Yeah.
You know, where we were just limited to
the white
yeah.
fuzzy stuff.
Yeah, the snow.
Yeah,
like we were just limited to antennas. And so there weren't as many options for me to see. I wasn't a huge reader back then, so I didn't find inspiration in authors or in the stories that authors told about characters, whether fictional or non-fictional. So I gravitated to athletics. At the same time, their lives weren't as much on display as they are today as well. So I don't know much about that guy's personal life. All I knew is he was my favorite hockey player. Sure. And, you know, I wanted hair like his and I wanted to be able to skate like he could and score like he could. But today, man.
Oh, geez.
There's so many positives that technology have brought. Technology advancements have brought, but one of the things for sure that it's brought is this exposure to anybody and everybody. You know, we can have YouTubers in China that are making how many thousands of dollars a month, like we were talking about a number of episodes ago, right? Showing people how to apply makeup like that. That wasn't even possible back when you and I were youngsters. And today it is. So how do we help our boys? This is just restating your question. How do we help our boys sort through all the noise and gravitate towards some role model that is beneficial and relevant? The other thing that I'm feeling this tension is, but like there is some benefit in the historical role models. So how do we embrace contemporary without completely disregarding historical? Like it's a balancing act. Because some of these people are too old to be relevant, or they're too young to be relevant, but they're still relevant. Right. If you know, it's like they're not old enough.
Yeah.
You know, they're not old enough, but they're beyond the generational view of our boys. Do you know what I mean?
Because in my heart, I'm thinking, how can Martin Luther King ever not be like a role model?
That's right.
Like, how can like Nelson Mandela
Yep.
ever not be a role model?
Yeah. Gandhi, Mother Teresa,
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you Harriet Tubman. I mean, dude, you could throw them all out there, and so I agree with you. I don't think we just throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't think that we start from scratch.
Yeah.
For me, like what the picture I get is how do we connect the qualities of these people that have the character, that thing or things for a lot of them that we admire and love and aspire to be about. How do we connect that with today's? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, how do we help our kids see like, oh, I see you admire that in that person. That's interesting. Well, back like in the early 60s, there was a gentleman by the name of Martin Luther King. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
and like connect it.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like those character qualities transcend the person.
Yeah.
It's not just, here's what person did. Here was the foundation behind whatever that person accomplished. And we can see that foundation in character qualities in somebody today.
or the opposite way around. Like, man, you wanna know why I love Martin Luther King? Is because he stood up for the little guy. Like he was like, dude, no, like this is wrong. How you're treating us as black people is wrong. It's an injustice, and no more, no more. I will be the broken record that plays in your middle of your dreams over and over and over again. That there is an inequality going on here in America and in the world, and we need to change it. And if anyone's going to say anything about it, I will. Oh, by the way, millions of people marching with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? That quality is cool. And you could find that in some people today. Like you could find that. I mentioned before we were talking about like new legends or role models is what I just want to make sure people understand what I'm saying when I say new legends.
Yeah.
But role models, like that quality, you could find that in Lecrae. Like I find that in Lecrae. Like when he was on Saturday Night Live doing the song "Welcome to America," and basically like he talks about different like injustices of different people throughout the song who are like experiencing inequality here in America, and he lays that out for the world to see.
Yep.
On not Saturday Night Live, I think it was not Jimmy Kimmel, who just took over Jay Leno's spot.
Oh my goodness, you're going to put me on the spot.
I
And
know.
I'm not a late night TV
And
watcher.
because I love this guy. I think he's actually a youth pastor in disguise. Like he just does these awesome. Anyway, but he was on this like very popular like late night show, and he was saying this stuff. Like what a great like stage to do that from. And what a way of being that broken record for at least for the United States to hear, like there is inequality, there's some injustice that is happening here, and no more. Someone has to say something. If anyone's going to say anything, then I'm going to be that person.
Colbert, is that who you're looking?
No.
Okay.
No. Not Jay Leno.
Anyway.
Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Now I'm blanking. I feel stupid, but I'm not stupid. I'm a smart guy. I'm
You are a
intelligent.
smart guy.
I am somebody.
That's right.
But you see what I'm saying?
I do.
Like making a connection for our kids. I think that's one way to do it. I don't know if you had any thoughts on how we can help.
So, what comes to mind initially is we have to know what we're looking for.
Yeah.
When you go buy a new car, generally you have some idea of what you're looking for. I want a truck. I want a sports car. I want a practical car. You don't generally walk into the dealership and say, hey, I got $100,000 budget. What do you think is best? You walk in with some idea in mind of what you're looking for. And I think that's got to be the starting point. We've talked about it here in a couple different ways, but often it's like define manhood.
Yes.
Right? Define manhood as a father, as a family, for your son. Define it. And then you can begin to recognize
Yeah.
those qualities in others. I think
You're right.
I think that's got to be the first place, right?
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're looking for things that are appealing. You're looking for those masks that we've talked
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
You're looking for other ways that are less than or not quite as good as. But if we can give our boys some sense of what they're looking for, then, or be like, that's not it.
Yeah.
You know, we know for sure that that's not it. And here's why, boom, boom, boom. I think that's a great place to start.
That's good. I like that, and I think it leads to another point. Like before we started, we were talking about this segment and what to talk about. I think that leads us to being knowledgeable of those who could be potential role models out there for our sons.
Yep.
Which means
I know where you're going.
we have to get a heartbeat on our culture
Yeah.
that our boys are swimming in.
Yep.
And that's tough.
It is tough.
That's really tough, man.
Because sometimes I don't get it. I don't understand it. I've got enough things going on. I don't want to try to learn something new. It's like, that's your thing. It's not mine, you know?
Yeah, and then like I get annoyed at some things because I don't get it. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
It's like, why did you say that? Why did you act that way?
Right.
Man, these young people, like, statements like that start flowing out of my head.
Right,
And out of my mouth, and it can cause problems, man. But I think dads, we got to be willing to get into it with our kids. Like, be willing. And when I say get into it, I'm not talking about fighting, or I'm talking about like
get into their
jump
space.
into their space with them, and be able to walk through with them and then point out the light beams, so to speak, the stars that are out there, and be like, that's interesting. That's cool that you're taking a gander at this person's life and saying, yeah, I can follow that person. Why?
Yeah.
Why? And is that, like you said, does that match the picture of the man that you want to become? Because if it doesn't, then no. You know what I mean? I would tell you as your dad, like, let me give you some wisdom. Don't do it.
Yeah.
But if it does, then sweet, man. Let's find those qualities that you connect with, and like, let's help you like pull those into your own life and work with them.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and it was not at all in this context, but it applies, because I what I was saying was there's two ways to approach this situation. I can meet you where I am, or I can meet you where you are.
Yeah.
And in this context, it was much better for the latter. I can meet you where you are. Mm-hmm. So as I'm thinking about this from a dad perspective, I can meet you, my son, where I am, which is generationally, technologically, historically, all these other things. It's irrelevant to where my kids are. At least often that's how they perceive it.
Sure.
Or I can meet you where you are and try to understand what your struggles are, what you're going through, the lens through which you see things, right? And technology is an easy thing to point to, because there's been so much change from when you and I were kids to now as parents. But that's just one of many examples. But like, how do I meet you where you are and get into your world?
Yeah.
So that I can help you with how to navigate it based on my wisdom, my experience, the connecting, like you said earlier, connecting people that I followed to people that would be good for you to follow, because they have the same characteristics, the same qualities, the same passions, the same fire that burns in them. Yeah.
And I'm like any other dad out there. I don't know. Well, I shouldn't say any other dad, but maybe there's a dad who feels like it with like they're like me, or can identify with me. But sometimes I feel like I am not knowledgeable of the culture.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, thinking about young so-called legends, role models that our kids can go, hey, you can follow. I'm just trying to think of names. I'm going, oh, goodness, I don't know a lot. I mean, but it ain't mine. I can list them off days. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, it's just it's helpful for me to think that way, because it's like, oh no, you know what? I need to know, because I'm not in this for knowing who's famous, and I'm not in this for knowing just who are good role models and who are not. I'm in this because I want to help my son. I want to help my daughters like become the people they're supposed to be. You know, the men and women they're supposed to be. In order to do that, I need to find relevant connections for them. See other people that are around their age or younger than me, or my legends, so to speak, who can like relate with them and connect with them.
You know, there's another thought that's coming to my mind, which is around encouraging our boys, and this applies to us too, but encouraging our boys to intentionally choose, not just default, not just default to the popular or the most prominent or the most visible, but intentionally choose people that you want to pattern your life after.
Yeah.
There's a quote that goes like, you become the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So who are you surrounding yourself with? Who is it that you are allowing to influence how you think, how you speak, how you dress? And is it on purpose? Are you intentionally choosing these people, or is it just by default?
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody else is doing, So I think
good point.
Even further upstream than what you're looking for, it's owning the choice.
Yeah.
And empowering our kids, empowering ourselves to be like, I have a choice. And even if I go with the default choice or choices, it's still a choice.
Still a choice.
So let me own the responsibility of choosing first, and then decide what's a good choice, how best to make the choice.
Agreed, man. Dude, thanks for letting me open up that topic.
Govna.
I'm
gonna go look this guy up. I want to hear the song now.
Yeah, he's cool because his musical style like can go anywhere. One minute he's like really jazzy, funky, next minute he's like all electronic, But I don't know. He's a well-rounded MC, but I like where he's going with his music.
Yeah,
Governor, that was a free plug.
Yeah. Well, there's always some inspiration to our topics, and this one happened to be Govna's new song, or at least his new Legends song.
Yeah, I don't think it's new, but new Legends.
Got it. Well, I'll find it and put a link in the show notes for those listeners that are around our age that might want to dip into a different cultural or genre of music. But yeah, I'll find a link and drop it in the show notes for your listeners in case you're interested. And dude, it was a great topic.
Yeah, man. Oh, and for those who are wondering, Jimmy Fallon.
Fallon, that's the name we were looking for.
Yeah. So if you want to see also that connection for the Lecrae song, "Welcome to America" that he did on Jimmy Fallon, just Google Jimmy Fallon /Lecrae.
Cool. I might have to look that one up too.
Okay.
Once again, brother, it's been good.
Hey, always, man. And what do we say?
Adios.
Adios.
Hey, listeners, thanks for journeying with us on this Next Man Up podcast. We would love to hear from you. Maybe you have a question or an idea, perhaps a topic for us to consider. If that's you and you want to reach out to us, you can get us at feedback@thenextmanup.com. That's feedback@thenextmanup.com. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you later.